What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out all new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Wednesday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors. All County Exteriors is a third-generation, premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Care Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Toro, and this is Ryan Kula.
What's up, Drop Pod people? How you doing this week? We have a big episode for you today. But before we get into that, we want to kind of give you a little schedule of what we got coming out here. Maybe something a little new and maybe not the best time to start it since it's the winter season, but today's Wednesday. Monday, Mike put out his final Mike verse, his bonus episode, 19th hole at Manasquan River. Yesterday, Tuesday, we put out TPI Tuesdays, a new series we're running. I'm going to be working with Dr. Mike all winter. We did, in this first episode, we did my testing and we kind of talk about some things. So go check that out on YouTube. That's going to be a more of a YouTube vehicle this winter. So make sure you go check it out. You're listening on Wednesday. We're putting out the episode. Thursday, Ryan Verse played Galloway. And even though, we already put one out from there a couple weeks ago, I know, but guys, the course is too good not to be on there, not to have it on there twice. So Thursday, check it out. What I'm saying is our socials are running hot right now. Our YouTube running hot right now. Make sure you go check those out. Make sure you're liking, subscribing. I say it all the time, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. We really mean it. You guys don't know how much that means to us when you do give it a follow, when you do give it a like. So stay tuned. We got some stuff upcoming and try to remind you more often when we got stuff coming out here. All right. As I said, we got a big episode today, and it starts with how big our guest is. We have Morgan Hoffmann, New Jersey native, Oklahoma State, PGA Tour, then has to step away. He gets I don't think you catch muscular dystrophy, but he comes down with muscular dystrophy and has this whole epiphany or awakening that he has on how he needs to live his life and how he can fix it. He's been working his way back, and he's going to get back on the PGA Tour next year. We had him on to talk about it and what he's been through and how he's been doing it and all that kind of stuff. Really just such an amazing human being and a unique experience and journey and just a super interesting cat. I mean, really, really cool guy. And we talked to him and maybe even aside from all that, the most important thing for Mike, at least, co-founder of Grayson. And so that's something that it was such a white whale for us. I mean, we've been talking about him for a long time behind the scenes here, Mike and I, and we were able to finally connect with him. And it was such a humbling experience to hear what he talked about and what he's gone through and how he's how he's changed his life basically in order to get to where he is. So make sure you stick around um, for that episode, for that interview coming here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that one, when you say white whale, I think that's a perfect definition of this because, I think we got to give a little shout out to Chris DeJean and the Arcola group because I think with that connection with Chris working at Grayson, maybe being able to vouch for us a little bit, I think that definitely helped us because I can't lie. You know how particular I am when it comes to the response of people, whether it's a comment, whether it's a DM. And, when I see Morgan and I saw him posting so many things, I'd always try to connect, whether it's through Twitter or Instagram. And I had finally gotten a response one night. It was legitimately like maybe 9 p.m. at night. And I get a DM pop up on my thing and it says Morgan Hoffmann. And I think this kind of defines how I operate in terms of like, I think I have what I think could be a phenomenal person for what we're trying to get done. And I'm a little persistent and I kind of will put my head down and keep grinding until we get it done. That Morgan's DM back to me said, appreciate the persistence in reaching out. And I started laughing because I was like, you know what? That sums up this whole thing because it's probably been 6 months in the making with responding to him, trying to get him to get on the podcast. But listen, if not for anything, this is a must listen interview. He's sitting at his place in Costa Rica. It is such a good interview.
Yeah, and Mike, we'll have to figure out how to post either a picture or a little clip of his situation. He tells, I even say at some point, I interrupt myself in a question and I go, who's got it better than you? Like, look at your view. And he goes, oh, this isn't even the better view, and turns it around. And like, he's sitting and you can see like the Costa Rica jungle behind him. And then he's like, oh, and he turns it and he's got the ocean on the other side of him. So like, seriously, who's got it better than him? So, yeah, really, really an awesome interview. So stick around. That's going to be a big one. You're going to want to listen to that one. All right, Mike, where do you want to start today? We got a couple topics. I think where you want to start, but should we start there or should we start with kind of where we ended last week?
I think we got to talk about what's been going on now. I think we can get to the second part after
Okay.
that, but I think there's some hot topics right now that have come out in golf that I think I'm sure the audience would love to know where we
No
stand
doubt.
on it. So I think we start there
Okay.
first.
So let's talk Tiger then. Let's talk the big cat playing this week at the Hero. I mean,
Yeah, I
how
mean,
much of it have you watched?
okay, so here's the difference. In terms of actually turning it on the
Yeah.
TV, not much
Yeah,
at all.
mine's
Not
0.
much at all. Not much at all. But I have been following very closely, let's just put it that way, on Twitter in terms of every shot the man has been hitting. I've watched a ton of videos. I have not sat down in front of the couch. Don't have the time right now to sit there and watch everything. But don't kid yourself. I know when he's making a birdie. I know when he's making a bogey. And I know when he's chipping out sideways out of I don't even know what type of thing is and hits it literally 5 feet. So I'm watching closely. But I will say this. Listen, the guy is an absolute monster. He's a
Mhm.
monster. I don't care. I'm not. If you thought he was going to win this week, you're probably crazy like me. But I kind of thought he might win. But
Because you're
the
great.
dude's the ball speed coming off the driver is impeccable. The golf swing looks so damn pure. Like a lot of things, the walk. Come on now. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, place the damn bet that Tiger will win the Masters because listen, if the guy can walk, he can win.
Yeah, I mean he's I've watched.
I can't. You can't be a Tiger hater right now.
I'm never a Tiger hater, right?
You're just not. You're not a Tiger lover.
I'm not
You're
a
not a lover. You're not a Tiger
I
lover.
just I think it's such a bad bet. That's all I think it is. I would absolutely love to see him come back and win. I really, really would. But how many times is this guy going to get knocked down, dragged out, and still come back? I mean, he at this point, At this point, he's in like Rocky 7, and he's now Rocky's fighting his grandson at some, so it's like,
And I love it. And
and
how do you not love
I'm
that?
not saying I don't. I'm just saying I think it's really, really unlikely for him to come back and win. That said, Mike, don't shake your head at me. That said, he if anyone can, it's going to be him. He's got the hands, he's got the skill. If his body is able to hold up, he's able to do it. I mean, he's proven that he can come back and win. He's already proven that. It's just a matter of, is his body able to hold up under that kind of scrutiny for 4 days? And
Dude, yeah.
and he said he was super sore caddying for Charlie a couple weeks ago. Now, obviously, he'll get in some better shape for that. I think that goes away, but I think that is telling as to how many times do we hear Tiger talk about being sore or tired after a round of golf? I don't think it's very often, and he's feeling his age at 46, 47, whatever he is now. That surgery, if his body can hold up, he can play golf and he can compete. It's just a big if, and that if is on a lot of factors: the weather, the time that he tees off, the location of the course, and we've all talked about, how the Masters, Augusta doesn't do it justice, how the terrain of that course. I would love it. I'm just staying away from the bet.
Listen, I think some of the things that Tiger Woods has said this week has really like kind of opened our eyes to say, like, I think he's about to do what he did back in 2018 and 2019. Like, I think he's about to do that again, because for him to be so open about his injuries, for him to be so open about everything, I think the man feels good. And I say that because every single round he's gotten fine. He's fine. There's not the time like you saw at Augusta, the dude just couldn't walk. He literally was ready to
Yeah.
crumble on the golf course. Right now,
Legitimately, I was hoping he didn't make the cut because he was not finishing that tournament. And obviously he played round 3 and didn't. So
yeah, and to me, like, if you watch him every day out here this week, the dude is walking completely fine
and getting better each round.
And I think his quote about, like, listen, I can practice as much at home as I want, okay? But when you're in the tournament golf and the adrenaline's flowing and everything's under a microscope, it's hard to practice that type of stuff. So you see it, like, he'll make a dumb bogey here and there, nonetheless, on a par 5, which you never see him do. But then he'll go out, like, on Saturday and go 4 birdies in a row and finish the front 9 at 32. Like, once he gets his stamina going, and for him to say, I think I could play a tournament a month, my God, the golf world is in heaven right now. Is in heaven.
Now,
because this dude is going to win again, and everybody's going to be like, well, it's Tiger Woods.
Did you take that as 12 tournaments, or did you take that as like April, May, June, July, August, September, October? Did you take that as like 7 or 8?
I took it as 5 to 6.
5 to 6.
If we can get 6 tournaments out of Tiger,
that's not
and
a
I'm
tournament
starting
a month.
in January. No, it's not. But when you look at, like, there's not much golf going on in September, October, or November when you think about things. So that's really out. He's clearly going to play the hero because it's his event. Okay, so he's going to play the PNC with his son. To me, I'm not really counting those two in terms of like the PGA Tour season because it's a non-season type events. I'm talking, we're going to get 6 PGA Tour.
You think he starts with the Masters? Is that his first tournament next year?
No, he's going to Riviera. He's going to go to Riviera because
so you got Riviera, the Masters.
Foundation.
Yep.
All 4 majors.
Okay.
So Riviera, 4 majors, that puts us at 5, right? And my one guess as to where the other one will be the Players, just because I feel like he's taken on more responsibility in this pack, in the PGA Tour, being the guy out in front. That is like their event.
No doubt.
I think that's where he
totally think so too.
If he's going to give up a major, I think if he gives up a major, it would be the British Open more than the U.S. Open, even though he struggles at the U.S. Open, because I think the British Open's weather can be so kind of sketchy.
I think that's one where I could see him pulling out if it's like Now, if that's at like one of the courses, if it's at the old course or if it's at Carnoustie or if it's at like if it's not at one of like the main
Yeah, it's
ones
not.
and he looks at the weather and he's like 47 and raining for 3 of the days, I think he's pulling out maybe up to right before, maybe up to Wednesday. But
Yeah.
that is the one I would see him pulling out of as well. So I,
Yeah,
I
because
agree. I
in
think
the
you got 4
Open,
tournaments, the 4 majors, Riviera, the Players. That's 6.
and if a major gets bounced, you can open it up for another spot. And again, I think it all depends on how he's feeling because even the British Open's at Royal Troon, and that's not a spot for him. But then I think about Pinehurst is where the U.S.
Yep.
Open is. Like I
He's
played
definitely
Pinehurst
playing
number 2. It's
Pinehurst.
flat.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
flat. It's flat. There's nothing. You're not walking
No.
hills.
No, you're not. You're not, and you're just
So
in those. You just avoid the waist bunkers, and then you don't even have real pressure on like your calves and Achilles from like walking on
yeah,
sand. So
and the rough is not that,
no,
and there's not rough there. It's all pine needles, straw, the whole
let's
nine.
be
Like,
real. We're talking about a golf course that's super difficult. We're talking about it like
oh
it's
yeah,
really easy, and that's not the case. It's an easy walk.
no,
It's a difficult golf course.
100%.
So
But to me, when I think about that's what I think about with
yeah,
Tiger. So listen, let's get 6 out of him. We get 6 out of him. He's winning
what do
one
you
of
think
them,
about?
and he's winning the one in
What do you
April.
think? What do you think about? Um, and I don't know the schedule well enough to know when this is, so it might conflict with like when another tournament is. What do you think about a tournament like Bay Hill? Like a tournament that he
100%.
absolutely loves. It means a
Murders. He
lot to him.
murders.
Like something like that, I could see him playing in as well. So you say 6. I think that's the minimum that we're getting there. I think those 6 are the minimum, and then you put in.
Minimum. Wow.
Yeah, I don't think we're going any less than that. Um, like when you say
I'll say
6 to
6.
8,
That might be the max. 6 might be the max. I'd be surprised if we get more than 6 out of Tiger this year. Wow.
I think that without a doubt he's playing in those, barring some kind of injury. Yeah, I think that's
I
if
love that.
he's
I
playing
love hearing
competitive
that. Come
golf.
to the dark side, big fella. Come to the dark side, big fella.
I think if he's playing, that's what he's gonna. That's the minimum that he's gonna play. I'm not saying he's gonna load the schedule, but again, I think it's those 6 bare minimum. You add in Bay Hill, there's 7. You add in what the
Jacks
other
for the
Jacks,
Memorial.
yeah,
At the
at the
Memorial.
Memorial at Muirfield, yeah. So there's
Mhm.
8, and I think you talk about your 6 to 8, and I think I don't know if it goes much more than that, but I definitely don't think it goes less than 6. I think that's the range. I quite frankly, I'd be shocked if it's more, and I'd be shocked if it's less.
Listen, it's great to see him out there. It's great to see him swinging.
Golf's better
He's
with
not
him.
fucking chop. He's not chopping it
No,
up. Like, no offense. Like, he's not finishing dead last. He's gonna. Again, I know we're recording this before the tournament ends, so it's hard
I looked
to
to bet him
predict it.
top 10. I looked on Saturday. I was messing around on one of the betting apps, and I was like, well,
He's not gonna get the top
and
10.
he was like plus 1,500 or something to get to top 10, and I was like,
Okay,
could he fire a 66 and backdoor the top 10? There's only 20 players
no,
in the field.
go bet the Masters winner for the future. It's way better than plus 1,500. But nonetheless, listen, I'm happy to see the big fella out. I guess I got to start wearing my Sunday red more often and just go black pants and have my TW hat on.
Yeah. Kind of keeping it with modern, stuff that's happening lately. Tiger playing this weekend. The other big news from this weekend, and news at the time we're recording this, news that is going to be coming out, not news that has officially come out yet. The ball rollback. Mike, I got mixed feelings on this, and I don't really know exactly where I stand on this. I don't want to make it sound like I don't really care about it because I do think it's an enormous deal. But from what I've read and what I've heard, I am very conflicted on it. So let's do this. Where do you stand on it? And then I'll throw it out there. What do you think of this bifurcation?
I hate it. I hate the whole thing. I hate the idea of rolling back the golf ball. And I think when we had this conversation when the news broke way back when about this as a possibility, like can't we be appreciative of how good these athletes are in the game of golf? That they're able to swing that fast and they're able to hit the ball that straight with their speed they have. I mean, like, think about other sports. We're not raising the rim in the NBA because LeBron's jumping over 10 feet. Like, to me, like, these types of things are not
But we did widen the paint.
they're but it's not fan friendly type things. Like, how many PGA Tour pros are there compared to the average recreational golfer? Like, now all of a sudden, eventually, it's going to trickle down to guys like me, and now I go from hitting it 230 to like 215. The game's hard enough. Like, now I got to hit more 4 irons. Come on, dude. Like, to me, that's just not. It's not a mass move. It's for the specific golfer. Like, can we change the golf course design up a little bit then? If these guys are constantly bombing at 315 in the air, put a freaking fairway bunker out there to like 330. The average guy's not getting there. Like, maybe the design needs
Or
to
if you're
change.
playing the tees you're supposed to be playing from, maybe it is in play. You know?
To me, it's not a move that I like.
Okay.
Let the game be fun. I don't know.
So
I
now let
mean,
me ask you this. Do you not like it because you, as someone who plays competitive golf, and guys that we've had on interviews, right? This is something, and this is kind of where I'm conflicted. As someone who plays competitive golf like you do, is that why you don't like it, or do you not like it because everybody is getting it? Does that make sense?
no, because
Like, again,
yeah,
and I
because
think Tiger made a great point, and honestly, it was Tiger that made me conflicted. He said the pros play with pro baseball plays with wooden bats, minor leagues play with metal bats, and that's the difference here. So if that's the case, then why aren't I, an amateur golfer and someone who doesn't play competitively, why aren't I allowed to play with a regular ball? Because I don't bomb it like pros do. But someone who is playing in competitive golf, why don't they get a rollback? If that's what we're doing, you know what? So again, that's where I'm conflicted. I think maybe it's a good point for competitive golf or professional golf, and I don't know where I would stop it, but the pros do. I mean, they set up courses now where they talk about it for the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. Like they're setting up courses. Hey, you guys all bomb at 335. Okay, we're gonna have short rough up into 300, and then we're gonna grow at 9 feet deep at 300 plus yards. So like, I don't know. I kind of think that the pros maybe should be playing with a different ball. Um, but then I don't know where to stop it. Again, for someone like you, I don't think I should be playing with a rolled back ball. I'm not good enough. I don't hit it far enough. So that's kind of where I look at the amateurism of it, is like, just let me play with the regular ball. I don't, what's the difference between me bunting it out there 230 or, you know, whatever 5% of that is, 215. You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference there?
yeah,
That's not making my day more enjoyable. I'm not out driving the golf course. This ruling isn't for me. It's for the people who are out driving the course, and I think that those are the professional and competitive golfers.
but to me, I feel like golf is one of the sports where we all can do kind of the same thing. Like, we all are, like, we can look at Tiger and be like, I can play Tiger's clubs. I can play the same ball as Tiger.
Right,
Like,
but can
I
you
think
though? Because I think that they make those differently. I
but
mean, like,
but you
if
can
you were able to
they
get a
can because
hand
there's
of him, I know he
specs.
plays the ball, right? He plays the Bridgestone RX3.
I can go buy it.
Yeah,
I
see,
can go buy
can
the
you
same
though?
ball
Because I
Tiger
don't think
plays.
you can't buy
Yes.
the left dash. Like, you got to specially
Yes, you can.
order
You can
those.
go to Titleist.com and you can buy it. It may take a lot longer
That's
than
what I'm
the Pro
saying. So
V1,
like,
but you can still get it, is what I'm saying. Is like, the idea that I can still be like those guys and say, listen, Tiger uses this, I'm going to use it. Is it right for me? Probably not. But the masses look at, like, if it works for Tiger, it should work for me. Even though we don't realize, like, that's not always the case. But the idea that I can still, like, quote, be like them and do what they do, that's kind of like, it's like you're looking at like a role model and say, listen, I'm going to try it because he does it. The idea that we're going to have two different games because you're going to have a pro game and an amateur game, like, I don't know. To me, like it's one of those sports that we can all kind of be the same, and the bifurcation, whatever how you say that word, is like really can be set by the T's, right? I'm not I can still do
Right, but clearly
everything they
people
have.
aren't playing the correct tees because to be
Well,
fair, Mike,
that's
when you and I go play, you're a much better golfer. You should be playing from the back tees. Me as a 11, 12 handicap, we play some tees that I'm fine with playing because I I don't mind playing them, but I probably shouldn't be playing from the tips at Arcola, right? Like that's probably too far, too difficult. Like if you looked at the handicap rating system, and I love that some courses have it. Like when I went and played Torrey a couple years ago, Torrey Pines has like your handicap, the tee you can play, and it literally says like the like tournament tees you need to call the pro shop. So like I like that they have that, but clearly that's not happening enough to the USGA and RNA decided like we need to do something different, right? Like,
I mean,
do you
yeah,
think that's the case?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think a lot of it is golfers sometimes think they're better than they are. There's no doubt. I think there's other times that you want to challenge yourself and play a different tee box, and it kind of ruins things. But I just don't know why we are penalizing the masses for the elites. Like, it can just be the same thing. It can be the same thing.
Right.
There's no reason I can't go play the Pro V1 just like Rory does or all these other guys that play like why can't I can play the same stealth driver. My specs may be different because of my golf swing, but I can still play that same driver. That's one of the things about golf that has been so fun is like you can still do what the pros do. You may not clearly do it as good as them, but I can emulate them with the equipment.
Right, but I think it's so different. I think like the shaft that they're playing with is especially like if you go buy the TaylorMade the stealth shaft and you go get fitted for it, right? They're not even offering you the stuff that they're even offering the pros.
Yeah, but you're not buying a club because of the shaft. You buy it because of the club head. That's what we all buy. The shaft is really what suits you. But if Tiger
But
has
that's
the
what I'm
Stealth
saying.
2, people are going to go buy the Stealth 2. But if so, if Tiger plays the Bridgestone, whatever, guys go out and buy the Bridgestone, whatever, because he plays it. They're not
I just
buying it
kind of
because of
think
the
that
shaft or the
they
grip.
give us such different the options to us for what the pros are is not as readily available. I think as for the normal golfer. Now, now maybe I'm thinking of like just too much of like going to Dick's or Golf Galaxy or one of those kind of places. You go to a pro shop or you're a member at, you know, if I walked into to Chris over at Manasquan and was like, "Hey, Chris, I want this." I looked up what driver Tiger uses. It's the Stealth. It's got this shaft. It's got this degree. That's what I want. And maybe he can order it. Like that's a pro shop specific thing. But I don't think that's a regular thing. If you go to like just the PGA Superstore and get a fitting. I don't. They're not even. I just don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that's even in the realm of regular golfers' possibilities. Maybe in your world where you're competitive and good enough to at least tempt with it, but again, I think that they just offer so much different stuff to the masses. I don't know. I don't necessarily mind having a ball that's different for the pros and the amateurs. I don't. And I do also agree with you though that we're getting penalized on the masses for the elite. So that's kind of where I
Right.
different. Like I'm with you. I
There's
see both sides.
there's like they say there's like 50 million golfers, let's say. Okay, that's kind of like the number I keep seeing. And you and I and guys like us will get penalized because elite athletes who spend hours in the
Hmm.
gym, they're constantly practicing. They're averaging over 280
Right.
yards on a
That's why I
driver.
said I think
You and
that
I
we should
are
have two separate golf balls. But then I also
right,
agree
but to
with
me,
you on having if we're going to have two separate golf balls, then it's
who the prices we as the consumer end up paying the difference now because of two
right.
golf
So
balls. We and they got the Titleist has to make up their end in terms of how can I make money now because I'm not making money in advertising Tiger Woods or Rory or Justin because no offense, I can't sell the Pro V1 to you and I because that's not what those guys are playing. So where's their marketing? Where's the price? Where's the increase fall on? Guys like you and
mhm,
I. That to me is a problem because we have to pay
right.
us we have to pay more because they're playing something different because they can't market it the
Yeah.
same way. So to me, it's like a whole trickle down effect that like we have two different things. Clearly, the pros aren't paying for their golf balls. Do you know who is though? Who's going to be paid the more because now the manufacturer has to make two
Right.
balls? That's where it becomes like, why? Why is there two golf
So
balls?
that's why.
This
So they just said, okay, we're going to go to one golf ball, and everybody is going
right,
to have this
but
rolled back golf ball, and now and then
and make the game harder and make the game
yeah, a game
harder.
that's already really hard. I know.
So
Again, I
to
don't
me,
disagree.
I hate it.
That's where I'm
I
conflicted.
hate
I
it.
see.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I would love for someone to argue against it and tell me, here's Mike, because I saw Rory's comment. Rory came out with a huge long tweet Sunday morning. Like he came out with it and said something along the lines like, I don't understand the anger about the golf rollback. It makes no difference whatsoever to the average golfer, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, you know what the difference will end up being, Rory? The dollar. Do you want to pay for the more expensive golf ball? Because right now the Pro V1 is like $50 a
Mhm.
dozen. Now, in 2030, when Rory's playing the tailor-made whatever, and he has a special ball, now that tailor-made golf ball, okay, with inflation, maybe ends up at 55. Now it may be $60 a dozen. And you know who's paying that price? Guys like you and me. And it's still not the same golf ball as that.
Are
That's what bothers me.
Do you think manufacturers are going to make non-rolled back golf balls?
They have to. Between 2028 and 2030, there's going to be two different balls. The rule is not in place. 2030, then it becomes everybody must play the professional golf ball, if you want to say. So that 2 year stretch,
So when is this
where
going?
there's
This
two
isn't
different
going into
balls.
play for a few years. That I didn't.
2028. 2028 is when it goes into
Okay.
effect.
So then from 2020,
Pending. Again,
yeah.
this is
So then from 2028 to
the
2030,
20. There's two balls.
and how does that? The
You'll
pros
have the
have to play the rolled back ball, but we
correct
can still buy regular golf balls
and play and
and play
play
regular golf balls. Then in 2030,
20
the entire world
is playing the pro
is
ball.
playing the rolled back ball. Okay. So that, I mean, to me, Mike, that tells me that we have 7 years, call it, it's the end of 2023. So call it 6 years. Every month buy 2 dozen of your favorite golf balls. From now, you got
I
6
know.
years. Just stock up. Just stock up. I plan on
Yeah.
playing golf
Can I
until I'm
borrow?
80. So let me
Can
do
I borrow
that
some
math.
of your balls? I need to borrow some of your money to buy some of these golf balls. But listen. To me, I think it
Ask
goes
for them
back
for
to a lot of
Christmas.
things you and I. Yeah, I don't know if I've been a good boy, but I think a lot of it goes back to what you and I have said. Golf is already so damn hard. Why are we making it
Mhm.
harder? If the pros are so good, okay, let's applaud the good golf. Let's applaud it. I don't understand the fact that why are we making something harder than
No,
it
and
needs to
and
be?
again, that's the one side of me that's like, okay, then have them roll the ball back. But I shouldn't get a rolled back ball. I don't hit it 330. I could be on top of
But then
Mount Everest and I'm not hitting it 330.
right, but the problem ends up being that with the two golf balls, you end up paying more for that second golf ball
Right.
because they have to pass the cost on
To
to
somebody. I
somebody.
get that.
For me, for Titleist making two
Right.
balls, that costs them money. So who's paying for that? You and I, and that's where the two ball thing, whether or not it makes sense or not, as a business, they're not going to eat the
No.
price. They're making you eat the price. It's the same thing nowadays with credit cards. It's like we used to have no problem paying for a credit card. Now, if you use a credit card, you got to pay 3% more because the pizza shop doesn't want to eat the
Right.
surcharges. So now you eat it. It's like, what the hell just
Mhm.
happened? I'm already paying enough for everything, and now everybody wants a nickel and dime you. And this is just another way, which is why, like, I hope to God this gets overturned and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I guess the more I think about it, I'd either like to see it not happen, but I do also get, you look at like a course like shit like Arcola. Where are they extending to? Now Arcola was already pretty long to begin with, but like that course isn't getting bigger. Essex Fells not getting any bigger. right? Unless you're buying houses and expanding your property, you don't have. It's not like let's knock down some more trees and we can gain some more yardage. Rock Springs, same thing. Like there's very few.
But how many PGA Tour pros are going in Rock Spring or Arcola and
Okay, so
setting the
just
world on
so give me
fire?
another so put another course that's like that that's in there. Shit,
But
Augusta had to
but
buy another golf course in order.
Augusta's for the pros. No, I'm talking. If you're talking PGA Tour events and you're talking all this golf architecture that people are designing golf courses left and right, we see it all the time. We see it all the time. It's not just. It doesn't have to be length. It's not always the end all be all. If a course is 7,600 yards, that's not the end all
Right.
be all. We know that you can strategically put a spot, a bunker
Mm-hmm.
here. We know that you can put a tee box there. You see it in the Ryder Cup all the time. That was the big argument. The European team designed the golf course that favored them because they knew they hit long irons
Yeah.
better. They knew the Americans were better with the wedges. So what they do, they move the damn tee
Yeah.
boxes. There's so many things that goes into the golf course design than strictly the number. And I think that's the problem that we all get fixated on is, 7,000, 600-yard par five. Like, no, that's not
Yeah.
it. That's not it. And I think that's my issue is like, they don't need to be extended. Move things around a little. Put a tee box here. We all know that when you go play the blacks at the one course the whole time and you say, you know what, this time I'm going to go play the whites. Don't tell me it doesn't fuck with your mind
No,
a little bit.
100% it does.
And that's
But I
my
think that's
point.
something that I don't think enough people do then. Like, okay, if you're you, right? And you constantly play the back tees. Right? You go to Manasquan and you're going to play the back tees at Manasquan. Okay? How often do you go and you know what? No driver today. I'm taking it out of the bag and I'm going to play the white tees.
Listen, I don't play
But I'm
enough
just
golf
saying, like the
as a
people
competitor.
that do
I
play,
never
right? You
do.
never
I
do,
never
and I
do.
don't think
But I'm
anybody
not
does that.
because I'm not setting the world on fire. I'm not shooting 65 from the blacks and be like, I need to give myself a challenge. If I break 80 at Madison Square, I'm like, I had a fucking
Right.
good day. And I
Okay.
love
So
golf. And I
so
love
maybe you're
golf.
the bad example, but like I don't think I'm never doing that, and I feel like I play
Right? Because you're the average
right. So,
golfer.
but what I'm saying is like,
So we're making rules for the elite. We're making rules for the small margin of
mm-hmm.
people that do things so damn well rather than clapping our hands and saying, you know what, you guys are so good. It's so fun to watch. I wish I
Yeah,
were you.
I don't disagree.
I know I hate the rule. I mean, I wish someone could argue or give me the reasons why. On the
Are
other hand,
are you the same way as I am? Like, give it to either the pros or don't give it at all.
no, don't give any. Give us the same ball that we're playing right now. Do not roll anything
Okay.
back. Let's keep advancing. Let's move
Now we
forward. Let's keep
now
evolving.
fast forward because they're already doing this. We have to. We are rolling the ball back. Are you saying okay, everybody's rolling the ball back, or just PGA, just professional golfers are rolling the ball back?
Everybody is because I don't want to eat the cost of the more expensive golf ball because I know that's how it'll go in a
Right.
business.
How much more
Because the
expensive do you
pros
think
me
it's going to be? You think it's going to be
it doesn't
double?
matter. No, not even close. Not
No,
even
I don't
close.
either.
But it's more money out of my pocket for something that's
Yeah.
unnecessary. And that's what I don't like.
Yeah.
The Titleist has to make 2 golf balls.
I
They can't charge the pro.
no, because that's for free.
So
I agree with
they're
you.
going to charge
And
my
I
tour.
think that like golf is supposed. It seems like this is a way for these stuffy old people to kind of get golf back. They've been like golf's been trending in this direction even since pre-COVID of like music on the golf course, having some drinks,
Untucked
casual, the
shirts,
untucked shirts, the long sleeve hoodie shirts, right? I mentioned music,
joggers.
joggers. Like golf's been going to that for a while. Even look at like the cradle at Pinehurst, like no shoes, par threes, like
No
having this
shoes.
like where it's supposed to be this like for everybody fun thing, and it's just it does seem like the stuffy old people in golf are trying to take it back with this.
Yeah, listen. I get what you're saying with that, but to me, it's like let's just. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't know if you really, really, really could
No,
convince
but
me.
that's what I'm saying. I
But at
think
the
we're
end
on
of
the
the
same
day,
page there. I think that
yeah,
you're making it
yeah,
not less fun now for someone to go out and
yeah,
play because now it's harder. And
yep.
yeah,
That I totally agree with, 100%. So I guess no rollback. The Drop Podcast votes no rollback. And we don't have a say in anything.
For those that are listening, USGA, hear us out.
We would like a seat at the table.
All right, Mike. Last week we had an awesome episode, and guys, if you did not listen to episode 60, go back and listen. Mike and I gave you our top 5 public and private golf courses that we played in 2023. Please listen to what I said. That we played in 2023. And then we had Stephen Hennessy on, who is the writer of the Golf Digest article that everyone goes to when they say, oh, what's the best course in New Jersey? And you type in best golf courses in New Jersey. The very first Google search that comes up is that Golf Digest article. And he wrote it for New Jersey. And we talked with him. We had a great interview with him. It was super, super interesting to hear the process because, I was blown away, Mike. I did not think that was the case, and it was really cool to see. But we didn't talk about the courses that we want to get to in 2024. And I think that's an interesting one for us because we talk all the time about golf courses we're either playing or want to play. And I kind of feel like we talked about ones we want to play or we did play. Let's now talk about some courses we want to play. And I think it goes without saying that I would like to play Pine Valley, Baltusrol, Upper and Lower, Somerset, Ridgewood, Bayonne.
Plainfield.
Yeah, right. So obviously we'd like to play all the private ones. There's no doubt there. So I think it's kind of silly to talk about private ones. So let's look at the public ones, I think, and let's do a top 5 public golf course that we want to play in 2024. Let's give our top 5 there. And I think
Got it. I already got mine.
so do I, because again, we talked about it and we gave ourselves homework. I think our list is going to be somewhat similar in some ways and drastically different in other ways. So do you want to go 1 and 1? Last week we kind of counted it down. You want to go my number 1,
Yeah.
your number 1, or my number 5, your number
Well,
5?
here's the thing for mine, and I want to preface. I don't have a number 1 or number 2 or number 3. I have 5 spots that I want to
Okay.
get to.
And
That's kind of how I preface
that's
mine. Is
hilarious.
there's 5 spots.
I did the same thing. I don't have like all of these
That's
could
what
be
good minds
number
think
1.
alike.
And
Good minds think alike. That's what it comes down to. But that's because when I started doing the list, I was like, it's a public golf course. I don't have a desire to get to this one over that one, but these are 5 spots that are kind of what I like to call my hit
okay.
list. Like I want to find a way to get to these 5 spots in no particular order. So I can do it however you want to do it.
So you have there's not like a number 1 on that list. It's like,
I mean, maybe. I mean, but these are 5 golf courses I want to go
I'm the same way, and there's one over all of them that I want to play more than others.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, looking at my list, I probably could do that for you.
So let's start with that one.
Want.
And I'll give you mine.
So,
I'll give you mine first.
okay.
Mine's Scotland Run. And really the only reason is how much you talk about how much you like it. And so that's why, in the same way, I want to play all of these. This is, again, like, I think that's a good word, like a hit list for these. But Scotland Run for me is something you've talked highly about. People have DM'd us about. I know other people talk about some other courses, and I'll get to another one that's on the list and why it's not number 1. But this would be, if I had to play one spot, this would be it. Scotland Run is one that I definitely want to get to next year. I'm probably going to have to do a sleepover at some point. Like I'm going to have to rent a hotel room or something to get there, but it is on the list of places I want to play next year.
It's a good one. I guess my number 1 then would be Neshannock Valley.
Okay.
I mean, everybody from, little cousin Susie down in East Jabib to Uncle Sammy that lives in the far northeast has DM'd me, told me about it, texted me, called me, and said that this is a spot you got to get to, including guests that we've had on the show.
Okay.
So to me, like, Neshannock Valley is probably my number 1 out of my list of 5 that I need to get to. Nonetheless, I'd like to play all 27 when I'm there. I'm a big, like, let me see everything while I'm there, because I don't know the next time I would be there. So to me, it's like I need to camp out the morning of, play my 18 holes, get a little snack, hit up the next nine, and then just close my eyes and
They
drive home. But
Well, keep your eyes open while you're driving. But they also have a like an executive nine there. There's 20
there's
there's
36.
27 holes there, and then there's like a short course that's a
Oh
short
wow!
nine. Like I think they call it the Academy nine. I think.
Can you post a score there?
Uh, I don't think so, but I'm not positive.
So listen, so Nishanik is definitely my
Yeah.
number one, and clearly it's always high on everybody's list. It's high on all these rankings lists when people talk public golf course in New Jersey. Nishanik would be my number
So
one.
I'm going to piggyback on that. Nishanik's on my list as well, and the only reason it's not number one, I guess it's twofold. How much you talk about Scotland Run, and because we're a team, we should have both played the same courses. But the other reason is I've played it, but I played it in an outing, so I want to see it as like a course, so to speak, not in like that kind of condition. So Nishanik's also on my list.
Next on my list, I have is Skyway. I know I tried getting there a lot this year, and I just couldn't. I just couldn't make it work. I was trying. The days just didn't add up, and it was just like too much of a scheduling conflict in terms of getting here or getting there. But obviously, everything I see about Skyway, I know it's only 9 holes, but that is a spot that I swear I got to find time to get to in 2024.
So Skyway is also on my list. And honestly, the reason it wasn't number one because that's a course that I am dying to get to. Maybe even more so than Scotland Run, just because of the views and what I hear about it, and some of the pomp and circumstance around it. But the reason I didn't put it number one is because it is only 9 holes. For whatever reason, I felt like that's a knock on it, even though I could just go around twice and probably arguably a better option because you play it once, now you've seen it, you play it again right away. But Skyway is also on there, and we did try. How many times did we try to get there and just couldn't work it into the schedule? Of like,
Mhm.
yeah, it was that was a place that just seemed to slip from us multiple times this year. So Skyway also on my
Yep.
list.
The next one on my list was Heron Glen.
Oh,
Another spot I tried to get to in the fall, and I actually talked to a few people up there, but you know how I am about the greens being the end all be all. When I was looking to get up there, the greens were being aerated the week prior, and I didn't want my first time
mm-hmm.
playing a golf course on greens like that. So they are on my hit list for 2024 because everything I read about them, they're typically right there in the top 20 of public golf courses in New Jersey. So I know it's a little bit of a hike again for me, is trucking it north all the way up to Ringo's, but that's a spot I want to get to.
I would, if I had to go honorable mention, Heron Glen would be an honorable mention. I've never gotten to play it. We've talked about like courses we've played, like I think I know your last one, but
I got two more.
right, and I'm saying not
That
the
was
next one,
three.
but the last one. Like I played Architects like 10 years ago, so I don't consider that I've played it anytime recently. I've never stepped foot on the property at Heron Glen, and that's one that I would put in there as honorably mentioned, but I would not put it above these five that I have.
Number four for you. What
Number
do you
four
got?
for me, uh, Wild Turkey up at Crystal Springs. And you know what, Mike? I'm actually going to go. I'm going to give 4 and 5 here because they're together. Ballyowen is the other one. Uh, Up at Crystal Springs, I really want to get to Wild Turkey. I've never played it before. Ballyowen, I was, and I know you've played Ballyowen as well. But it's been a few years since I've played it, and that course was phenomenal the first time I played it, it's just a spot that I'd like to get to again because it's been now probably 5 years since I've gotten there. I feel like it's definitely pre-COVID, so I feel like that's one I definitely want to play. I would really like to get up there, and Wild Turkey's one I hear great things about, and never been up there as well. So I think that at Crystal Springs there, those two are high on my list as well of courses I want to get to. And I guess I put them together because I guess you could go like 1 and 1A with them if you wanted to. I know how much you love that, but they're also right there. Like you can bang those out in a day, and um, I don't know. I want to play both of those this year.
Well, fingers crossed that this coming summer that we're able to get back up there and see them, because it's funny you say Ballyowen, because next on my list was
Okay.
Ballyowen. And I know that's a spot that I've played and you've played. But again, when you talk about top public golf course in New Jersey, Ballyowen always seems to be at the top of that list. And it's hard to argue against that. Whether, I am a huge fan of Scotland Run and the South Jersey courses. I think Ballyowen not only has the visuals, but the challenge as well. And I think that's a huge, huge draw to me about Ballyowen. So I put Ballyowen as 4, so it's kind of funny that you had it. But my 5 is outside the box. And I know exactly what you think my 5 was going to be, because I'm part-time psychic, if you didn't know that. But I think you thought my number 5 was going to be Architects. Is
That's
that fair? It's not. Okay.
Honorable mention?
But yeah, it was on my mind.
Yeah.
It was. But then it led me to this one, because I can't lie. I'm always on the socials and I'm always listening and hearing what people say. And then I started doing my own little research. My number 5 is Francis Byrne in West Orange. And I say that
that's an audible. If you had done this last week, that's an audible from this week.
It is an audible. And listen, got to change. Listen, things are constantly changing around here. So we got to adapt. We got to be able to modify, rebuild, got to be able to explode and go. So Francis Byrne took my number 5 spot because everybody on Instagram this week or last week, I should say, was all about Francis Byrne. You got to go check this out. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Must be on my hit list. I start doing my own research. The renovation they did, it's an old, if I'm right, I think it's an old Banks course, which is something that kind of interests me. It used to be tied into the private golf course of Essex County. So there's a lot of history at this place that, no offense, I knew nothing about. Nothing. Until I started doing my own research. And then it started to make me start to think and starting to tickle my fancy a little bit. So if I can, Francis Byrne is on my 2024 hit list of where Mike Puro needs to set his camp down and see what this place is about. But to you, and I know you like your A's, B's, and C's, okay, Architects is right there in terms of something I want to experience, because I think the uniqueness of that place seems rather cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the W on that, because I think that was when we talked about doing this list last week. I think when I first said it, you're one of those people that's okay, got my 5. And I think Architects was number 5 there. So I'm taking the W.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It was 5. But as we have the premiere, you have to make those last minute edits here and there, I didn't like that. Let me slide this one over and slide this out. Listen. And that's what came down. But yeah.
So here's what I think we do. I think we put this list. I think we got 7 courses, right? Is that 7 different ones we want to see for next year?
You're better at counting than I am.
I think that's I said Scotland Run. We both said Ballyowen. We both said Skyway. We both said Neshannock. I said Wild Turkey. You said Francis Byrne. And Architects. There's 7. Yeah. I think that's a good list of 7.
Heron
Glen, 8. Sorry. That's a good list. And I think that's an 8 that we want to get to next year.
Yeah. Those are good spots. I listen.
And I'll tell you, for someone who, would you play 9 public rounds this year? And we just rolled off 8 public courses we want to go play.
I know. Listen, but again, this is like the going theme on the podcast. When I say New Jersey is the best state for golf courses, private and public, in the country, this is the reason why.
Our public golf is so good here. It's so good. There's other places that I would imagine have better private golf. Hold on, let me think about how I want to say that. So I know we have such good private golf, right? But you look at how many other places have super elite, like yeah, you look at like California. It's so big. There has to be so many great private golf courses in the whole state, right? So while our list is super elite, like how many Galloways you think are in California or on Long Island or in Florida, right?
Listen,
Probably a
a lot,
ton, right? So I
a
think
lot,
while
a
our
lot.
list is super top heavy with like the six that we've talked about, and then like we put Union League and Galloway, and we probably get to like 10 really exclusive courses that would be on any state's top 25, right? But then you have like Canoe Brook, I'm sure is really nice, and I've never played there. And I'm not trying to knock Canoe Brook at all, but you think Canoe Brook's making California's top 25 private list? I don't think so. I would think that there's so many in just because the size of
No,
the state, right? You'd think like there's like 47 New Jerseys that fit in California. So I think
right.
just by
And I think
size, you're
that's
talking about
and I think that's why we have the best damn state, because of when you look at the size of how big
oh,
we
we're
are,
compact, baby.
and you talk about how many very, very good golf courses there are, I will take that up against anything, because from the north to the south to the east to the west in New Jersey, it is so damn good. We go through it every single week. And in California, like, yes, I'm sure it's very good, but the state is
Yeah,
monstrous. It's not a fair in terms of like their size compared to ours, but I will take ours.
yeah.
They may have Pebble, they may have Cypress, they may have
Those are all
Spyglass. I
public
get
though.
all that. Right,
Well,
right. But
hold on.
it's
Public
resorts. It's
adjacent.
resort. Yeah, it's resort
But
like. So is
they're not
Pinehurst.
open to the
Pinehurst is
regular
public.
public. You got to be able to
Right, but
afford $600 for a round of golf.
right, and that's why to me. But I still think we have the best state of golf in the country, hands down. I will take that fight up against
No, no
anybody.
doubt.
I will go tit for tat. I would love to get on someone's podcast and argue the hell for New Jersey, because golfing in the Garden State is far and away the number one spot
I
to play.
agree. I agree. I also again we have such great public golf courses. What I think is what accentuates it. So
Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, Ryan. That is sums up New Jersey golf to a T. But before you kick it to Morgan Hoffman, I do want to constantly express this to the audience, because I don't know if everybody truly understands the importance of this. If you can, we can't ask you enough. If you could click that follow button on Spotify and throw us a 5.0 rating. I don't think the audience truly understands the importance of it when it comes to the search engines, when it comes to the algorithms, that when you type in the drop on those platforms, we want to be the number one spot that people go and listen to, especially when you're talking golf in the Garden State. It's the same thing on Apple Podcasts. We want to make sure that people not only rate, review, but they leave a follow, they click that follow button as well, because those types of things helps us consistently get out to the masses. And I think that's the whole goal here. We've seen the numbers constantly go up episode after episode. The followers are constantly going up. Click on the subscribe button on YouTube. We can't thank you enough, because I don't think the outside truly realizes how important that type of stuff is. So while you're listening, if you could just pause this real quick, go click that follow button, toss the 5.0 rating. You don't know how much that truly helps us.
yeah, for sure, that would be super helpful, super good for us. All right, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along. We're going to send you now to Morgan Hoffman. Again, I introduced him, but he really needs no introduction. We had about 45 minutes to an hour with Morgan, and just awesome. It was really incredible, super interesting story. So here's our interview with Morgan Hoffman. Enjoy.
Our guest today has been on my podcast wish list from the very beginning. A true white whale, if you will. The excitement for me is off the charts for this. Today's guest is none other than New Jersey's own Morgan Hoffman. Morgan, I can't thank you enough for coming on today's episode.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it. Those are some pretty nice comments. Made me smile. Yeah, it's nice to be on with some Jersey blood in here, and nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for jumping on, Morgan.
Yeah, so I mean, I think before we get into kind of the present and things that have transpired maybe in the last few years as well, like why don't you give the audience a little background of yourself? Obviously, being a New Jersey guy, like I like to say, through and through. I know you've kind of ventured off and moved down to Florida and now Costa Rica a little bit, but prior to that, why don't you give the audience a little bit of background about you?
Yeah, I mean, started in I was born in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Was there for like the first 8 years, and then moved to Wyckoff. And where'd I go? Sycamore High School. Wow, bringing back some good memories here. Um, Sycamore, then Eisenhower, and then Ramapo High School, and went to 2 years Ramapo High School, and was playing ice hockey and baseball, kind of like going into high school, and was kind of getting decent at all three. I guess a little bit better in golf, and always wanted to kind of pursue the pro athlete journey. Um, and picked golf to really like get a focus on. And after, well, I guess won 2 state championships we had an awesome team at Ramapo. And then after my sophomore year of high school, decided to go down to Hilton Head, South Carolina, where my golf coach at the time just started an academy called IJGA. His name was Gary Gilchrist. And went a year and a half there, and it was awesome. We lived on Defusky Island, which is like just off Hilton Head. The only way to access it was by boat. So on the weekends we would like be super pumped to get on the boat and go to Walmart and stock up, and have some bowling competitions on the side after a pizza dinner. Man, those were some good times. Then after high school, went to Oklahoma State for golf, and that's kind of where things started getting more serious onto the route of the PGA Tour. And we had an awesome coach there, Mike McGraw. My teammates were Ricky Fowler, Peter Uline, Taylor Gooch, and Kevin Tway. So it was really nice company to get better at and like become the best that we could. And the cool thing about it was our coach, he knew that we all had big dreams, and his like minimum list to be on the team at Oklahoma State was to like have a aspiration to be on the PGA Tour. So he's like, hey, look, if you guys tell me that, then I'm not going to give you any practice drills or any regimen or schedule at all. Like, you do what you need to do, and if you don't perform, then I'll get on you. And it was a really cool way to learn accountability and just freedom, and the tendencies or the things that you could get into obviously at college, but try to stay focused. So that taught us a lot there, and obviously being against the other players there were great, to get better. And then I turned pro after my third year, and then like the fun started playing on the PGA Tour, and and trying to figure out like what this atrophy was in my chest. And like it started from the first year I was out there, so it took me 5 years to find an answer, and but learned a lot in the way, and it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I guess that's my basic story and up until almost now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to ask you, I have a question for you that I want to ask, and I've been thinking about it for a long time and how to ask it. Since we're talking about your childhood here, anyone who's kept up with your story knows, at least kind of that you're living in Costa Rica, kind of what you've been going through. I mean, the view you have behind you doesn't look terrible at all.
The other way is a little better.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My God.
That looks amazing. But like, you're talking about your childhood, and I wanted to know, did you always grow up with this idea of some alternate or like non quote unquote non-traditional medicine, or is that something that once this came about you kind of found?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked it because it's nice to talk about this. And it's one thing that I want to really be clear on in this sharing the story of my life is that like no, the answer is absolutely not. I used to be normal per se. And if I had a cold, I would chug some Benadryl. I would go to the white coats and ask for some ibuprofen or a Z-Pack, I think they're called, like the
Yeah.
antibiotics.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yep.
because it was the only thing that I knew to do, and it was the way that um, we were raised because there was no education on any other alternative methods. And I had to find them on my own. And when I did, I just realized that like we have so much available that we don't even know, and that is free for us to heal and to regenerate and live our strongest, healthiest lives without processed foods or drugs or vaccines that who knows what's in them. Um, I'm not just talking about the most recent one that's taken over our world, but like, from as we were kids. And like here I'm sitting looking over our fruit forest here with like we just had picked cherries this morning. And like when you have food that you can grow on your own and like put the intention that this fruit's going to grow and give food for you and your body to become your body, like it's a completely different mindset because you have intention and energy put into everything instead of like going to somebody else for a help or full trust in your daily life. Like when I used to go to a doctor and they were like, "Oh, you have the flu," or "You're not going to get better," like I would have fully believed it. And I really hope that people can at least question and be curious, not judgmental.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated in a lot of ways about your story. I've just been consuming everything because I think if you look at something like gluten free, they don't have in Europe.
Hmm.
There's not like celiac disease. They don't have like that allergy there. At least that I know of, and at least on the not on the scale that we have it here in America. And it's because of how we process things. We just in America, it's about like the processing part of it. How much can we make money off of something, and not necessarily what's best for you. And it was just super interesting to hear your story going through and how you're picking cherries and it's all natural stuff. There's something to it, man, because there's a obviously you're doing better, and there's something about it because you always look at like the oldest person in the world is always some lives off the land kind of person. So there's definitely something to it. So it's
It's
super
true.
interesting to me. Yeah, I don't even know if I formulated that as a question or a statement. I have so many thoughts and ideas going on up top. I just it's so interesting to me.
No, it's great to touch on that point that you brought up, like about the bread, like we have like what's the expiration date on Wonder Bread? Like if you go in the store, it's probably several years, but in Italy, they're making homemade sourdough from a culture that they've had for 20 years or whatever, the starter that they have in their
Hmm.
kitchen. And like it's a living thing and it expires after a couple days. And that's how food should be,
Yeah.
like there's a thing online now that's um, showing like McDonald's fries and a burger or something like 20 years down the road and there's no mold, there's nothing on it. It still looks pretty normal and like it's
That's not
wild.
that's not good.
Yeah.
Right? You're putting
Yeah.
that in your stomach. That's going like what Coca-Cola does to teeth in 24 hours. Like that's not good for anybody. What are we doing drinking all this stuff? So
Yep.
it's very very true.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of also, Morgan, leads to the point, like, I know people say like alternative medicine, and I don't even know if that's like a fair term to use because it's really like Eastern medicine has been around for forever. And I think
Hmm.
that's something that people kind of like forget about that, when you're talking Western medicine, it's all about like, give me the quick fix, give me the pill, give me the ibuprofen, give me whatever it takes, the Dayquil, the NyQuil to make you feel better. But then they look at this quote alternative medicine. It's not really that because when you think about like even something like being a chiropractor, like people sometimes look so negatively upon that, but it's like, you do realize that they're fixing you in a kind of like in a more healthy manner comparatively than taking the Advil to make your back pain go away.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up as well. You guys are just teeing me up for all the things that I like to talk about. Um, yeah, I've always called it like, I'm not doing alternative medicine. It's the original medicine. If you look at a timeline here and compare the two like ways of um, healthcare, it's like, all right, what I'm doing has been around for thousands and thousands of years, and what you guys trust in has been around since 1920 for just like 100 years or so. And like pills and things that are just like, there's barely any research done on them, and like the long-term effects. And it's but also like everyone is on their own path and on their own journey. And like if if you need to drink 10 Cokes a day for a couple of years to realize that, oh, you know what, it's not that healthy, then maybe that's the answer that you needed. And like everybody, the process of realizing takes a lot of time. I mean, when I started this journey, it was just me getting rid of dairy right after college and realizing that like I slept better and I felt better and thought clearer and digested better. And like I was like, damn, just by getting rid of this one animal product, like it takes time and experimentation though.
And I think that is probably like the most important thing to understand is like we all are going down different paths, and sometimes it takes quite some time for us to realize like, all right, maybe this is just not working for us and we have to try something different, because that's the nature of how us humans are sometimes. Like you got to get like slapped in the face or punched to realize like, okay, maybe this is just not for me.
Yeah.
But like as you've got to, I guess like 2017, like when that started, like I still, that's when you started the foundation and everything. And I see kind of like where you're at. Like, what are some of the positive things that you've seen in your life specifically from the change that you've made going this route compared to, what we all kind of have grown up doing?
Man, it's endless. Like where do I start? I guess, I mean, I'm looking at my foot right now, and I never wear shoes while I'm here.
I know
Um,
I read that. I read that.
going, I mean, I just went into the supermarket with my daughter on my chest, like, and we are pushing the cart around. I never wear shoes anywhere, like in the bank, and it really promotes grounding. Like we're electric beings, and the earth is pretty much where we came from if you want to break it down. So like connecting back with that is such a game changer. And I think people, especially from the Northeast, like in the hustle and bustle and like the corporate structure, like probably rarely get their feet in the ground, even when they're camping, like they have huge hiking boots on and stuff. Like you just to um to feel that for a few days, it you feel so much more at ease and at peace, and you look at things differently. I don't know why exactly. I mean, I guess I could break it down more scientifically, but like when I first started, it was such a game changer. And then also really probably the biggest benefit I've noticed is the knowledge of where your food comes from, and the study and the time that I put into learning about what's really being put on my plate, because it's really going to become my body and create energy for me. So just that simple awareness of um, maybe thinking about everything that's been on your plate for your next meal, and all right, I have some broccoli here. Where was this broccoli grown? How many people have touched this broccoli? Like, how many people who are like trying to help get this onto my plate? And just the gratitude to all those people, all the farmers and things like when that energy exudes from you into your food is going to cooperate with you much better, even if you're eating some Oreos, like when you have that energy that you're feeling grateful for it, it's kind of inexplainable. And what else? I mean, I guess just
I legit have broccoli on my dinner plans for tonight. I took out. I was like, I have a head of
awesome.
broccoli. I have some chicken that I'm gonna do up. So I'm legitimately, when I go home tonight and think about that, I'm gonna be thinking about this broccoli now.
Good, good. I love it. Yeah, tell me, you text me and tell me what you come up with.
And then like obviously, as your journey has continued, like I'm beyond fascinated by it. Like I think I've listened to probably two or three different podcasts that you've been on, whether it was The Heel, whether it was with Gary Williams. I've read everything that Dan Rappaport wrote to Marty Smith because I just think your journey is truly amazing. I do. And I think it like just shines light on like, listen, just because at times you're dealt a difficult hand, it's not just the time to give up or to, quit and just say like this sucks and I can't do anything. Like you've kind of persevered and just, like I know you like to use the word regenerated a lot. And I feel like that's kind of how I look at where you are today. Like I feel like, whether it's, Grayson, which I will tell you is my absolute favorite brand. And I say this all the time. I've
Thank
said it
you.
to Chris DeJean. Like, there's not a brand that I love more than Grayson. But like,
Morgan, hey,
even
oh, hold on,
see,
hold on. We need to. We're now what 20 minutes into this interview, and I'm surprised it took him this long to mention that because he
yeah,
he. I mean, he would drape himself in Grayson head to toe, 24 hours for the rest of his life if he could.
Hell
yeah,
yeah. I love
yeah.
that.
I do. I listen. There's not a brand that I compare everything to. Anybody asks me like, well, I'm like, well, it's not Grayson, but like, it's kind of like,
It's true. He does.
because everything. But I think that just, I
Amazing.
mean, your story to me is like inspiring in so many ways because I think kids that and audience members that listen and followers that like kind of like love to hear stories like yours. The reality is like, listen, at one time, like you were the number one player in the Wagger rankings. Like you were the guy, like you were the next up and coming guy and you got dealt a tough blow, but you didn't stop, you didn't quit. And I think what you're doing with this foundation and in Costa Rica, like I love the name of the place, Nakawa, taking the word awake and going backwards. I think that's
Thank you.
phenomenal. Yeah, I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about like what you got going on there in Costa Rica?
Um, yeah, thank you for all the compliments. Grayson has been amazing and definitely a teacher and um doing it with one of my best friends, Charlie Schaefer, has been um amazing. We have to pinch ourselves every once in a while because the brand, like we can dream big, but if you really get to taste that amazingness of the dream kind of coming true, it's really special. So I appreciate the comments on that and the support with wearing it. Um, but
Always.
in Costa Rica is this place specifically, Nosara, is kind of like what I describe as the new natural healing hub of the world. There's been a bunch of other places that kind of have vortexes per se of a gathering of people that are either trying to learn about natural health or are educating on the um, decades of experience that they have. And this place has really been a one-stop shop for so many different healing modalities and people and teachers that have taught me so much. So originally we made this foundation to support muscular dystrophy. But in the findings and the self exploration and experimentation that I've done, I realize that the treatments and therapies that I'm doing have really so many profound and beneficial effects on all kinds of diseases It's just that breaking down what disease is, it's like showing your body that, hey, there's something that you need to address here, and something that doesn't mean that it's infixable. Obviously, there's situations where, you catch it too far, and people are gonna have to pass away. But like, I think there's a lot of ways that you can naturally fix something, and like your body wants to heal itself. Like if you cut yourself by accident, you do nothing, the cut is going to heal, and you don't really have to think about it or focus on it, and maybe clean it a little bit. But it's the body is amazing, and in that we've kind of built our idea about building a wellness center, to teach people on how to detoxify, um, from not just the food that you've been eating, but everything in your life that can be possibly causing you a negative effect, like too much cell phone use or EMF, radiation frequencies, and the way you talk, and how, the people who surround you. Your friends are, show me your friends, I'll show you who you're going to become. And it's just like complete awareness of what you've been doing, and a huge in-depth questionnaire that we're creating is going to be really the first step of our retreat center, if you will. And to find out, like, all right, what shampoo are you putting in your hair? Let's see what the ingredients are. Educate you on what chemicals are in here and the preservatives that could be leaching into your hair and causing you some brain fog or possibly cancer, or like, and then the food that you've been eating, how is it made? Where is it from? Is it organic? It's just like a complete breakdown of your life, and to just bring awareness for you to have in your um, in your repertoire if you need it. Like this is a place not for us to tell you what to do. It's just a place to explore yourself, and if you like anything that we teach you, then you can put it into your life. And so I guess, yeah, the first step is detoxify. Then we'll discover, which go through meditation and yoga, and all kinds of self-discovery type workshops of doing some inner work with some hard questions about you and who you truly want to be, and uh, like in body. And then it's regeneration based on the food that we're growing at Nakawa on the land, and teaching you how to grow your own food at your home, wherever it is that you live. So if you're in Detroit or New Jersey, like you can only grow 6, 7, 8 months a year. And like there's many ways on how to do that and just be as healthy and natural as possible.
So the cow is going to be for everybody. Not, you don't just need to have some kind of disease or something going on. It could just be like someone who just wants to be a healthier person.
Yeah, so Nakawa will be a place for everyone to come who is serious about changing their lives. And we're going to have different retreats and times of year that are patients of muscular dystrophy only, or cancer patients, or um, people trying to get rid of addiction, or things like that. And other times we'll rent out the space to have specific yoga retreats for 7 days or so. But the Nakawa custom retreats that are custom programs for each person will be like a minimum of 2 weeks long, and we're only going to host um, about 15 to 20 people at a time. So it's very personable, and you have free range of 300 acres and 4 waterfalls, 3 natural springs, which will be drinking the water from there, and agriculture and hiking. It's ocean views. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
That sounds right up my wife's
It,
alley. My wife is a huge yoga person, and she got me into yoga this summer, and I swear to God, it's probably the best thing that I've ever done. And she legitimately had a yoga trip, a retreat booked to go to Nicaragua for 5 days. Gets to the airport, and they delayed her plane, which meant she missed the connecting flight to get there and wasn't able to go. So like when
Damn.
you start talking like yoga retreat, that is like right up her alley. And you're in a spot
Sweet.
which she would be loving life.
The scary part is like getting here, like it's just because of the mental fear that the government kind of puts in you, like, oh, going to a foreign country or a third world country, and like it's not as safe as the United States, and like it it just doesn't make sense to me because like there's more dangerous parts of the US than there are here, I guarantee that. And yeah, it's just once
That
you get
stereoism
past
is
the
bad. It is bad
yeah,
because no offense, I heard that like I've always supported her. She wants to go do it. But like family, friends, outside people are like, "Are you sure you can go there? Like, you sure you know?" And it's like
yeah,
it's amazing that people say that because no offense, like you just said, like I could tell you 5 spots in New Jersey alone that
yeah.
you couldn't see me step foot in.
Hmm. Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's crazy. So once you make the leap of faith per se and come here, it's incredible.
That again, just going back to that Marty Smith article and reading and hearing him talk about not knowing what he was going through, but that he's crying for hours, like hysterically bawling, and not knowing, like there's something there that's cleansing for someone who seemingly has all of his shit together. So it's not just it's for everybody that's got something. So it's that's an amazing retreat that you have going on there. That thought, that forethought, that idea, everything. It's so incredible. I can't think of a
Thank you.
different
Yeah.
word.
No, it's a great word to describe it. I appreciate it. Marty was great. He came down here and we had an amazing time. And every question I asked him, he was a complete yes man. And we, he was fully into it, very professional, but he admitted the things that he didn't expect and that happened that he had no idea could happen. And it was really nice to see his maturity and openness as well. And I think, just as you said, like everyone has something that they're going through. I have never met a person that they're like, you know what, my life is perfect, absolutely perfect. Never had any trauma in my life. Was brought up amazing. Never like no, there's no one like that. So like, there's always something that you can be working on and bettering or healing, and it's definitely a place for everyone, but um it's open to everyone, but it's not for everyone because this stuff is scary and it's different. It's only scary because it's different. And like to relate back to I think the first question is 5, 6, 7 years ago, I probably would be making fun of this type of lifestyle because it was the only way that I knew how to do it because my dad was very sarcastic, and if something was wrong or someone was different, you'd make fun of them or make a joke. And now, looking back, it's kind of sad, but it's what he knew to do best and make people laugh. And but yeah, some people have different missions in life, and this is definitely not for them, and I'm okay with that.
It's so well put that you said it's open to everybody, but it's not for everybody. That's like
yeah,
poetic.
and I think that's why it's kind of like it's a serious internal look at yourself. Like I need to be open and understanding like shit's going to be hard and we're going to get deep and it could get nasty and black in a sense, but I think when you look at the end of what it could be, you've got to say that the positives far outweigh the negatives because I'm obviously going there and I have some issues and I'm going to admit that. I got to come out at least an inch or two better than I was before I went in. And I think that's, percentage wise, you want to talk like that's always the goal, I think.
I mean, nobody's ever gotten better at their dream or something that they're pursuing sitting on the couch. And you just have to go through the tough shit to get to where you want. And it's like, how diamonds are made. It's pressure. You got to put the right pressure on, and it'll come out with something beautiful.
And that kind of, I saw obviously, Jupiter is that home now for you? Or is Costa Rica home?
I mean, we're splitting time now that I'm going to be coming back and playing next year. So a lot of a lot of practice has been going on in Jupiter.
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with Jupiter. My mom and dad live there. So when I saw that like you were at Panther National and as an ambassador, congrats. Obviously,
Nice.
I know the area particularly well. So that kind of was, and I see you in all, basically there a couple days ago doing all those things with all those guys. The course looked phenomenal, and I know, Justin Thomas is one of your good buddies who rocks Grayson too, and beyond jealous of
Hmm.
him. But like, what are your plans specifically? Like, what are your, what is the future for Morgan Hoffman when it comes to golf? Is the goal, because I obviously read a lot of things, and you weren't particularly sure if you wanted to go through the grind about possibly going through the Corn Ferry Tour, or if you had PGA Tour starts left, like kind of like where are things for you on a professional level?
Um, I've had to ask myself a lot of hard questions throughout this time, and one of them was, do I need golf in my life? Like, is it my identity? Am I gonna not be me if I don't have golf? And the answer was no. Like, I don't need golf. I'm not gonna, my soul is not gonna die if I don't have golf in my life. But do I love golf? The answer is yes. And do I still think I'm capable of achieving some goals that I haven't reached? And the answer was yes. So with that, I wanted to give it another shot and um, see how it goes. I have full Corn Ferry status next year, and obviously prefer to play on PGA Tour, but sometimes Corn Ferry is really, really good competition, and it'll definitely prepare me for getting back on tour. So my plan is to play starting the Bahamas. I have fully exempt, so I don't have to go through the reshuffle. I get to pick each event, which is nice. And then I'll also do some PGA Tour Mondays because the goal is to get back there as quick as possible. Um, and then we've been establishing an amazing team down here and in the U.S. to help build Nakawa, so I don't have to be here all the time. We have an incredible permaculture team called Porvenir Design, and they've been nonstop. We've just been tapping the springs and getting all of our water tanks in right now, and putting new fences for the horses. We just planted 2,000 trees, and building and permitting is underway. So it's all happening and very, very exciting.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm pumped to hear that you're gonna get back into it. Like that was the one question on my radar because I was like, I hope to God he's gonna tee that thing back up because I do think that like,
Too good not to.
yeah, your history speaks for
Thanks.
itself, and obviously you've dealt with a lot, but I think you've overcome a hell of a lot more too. And to see you back out there swinging the golf club, and I'm like, dude, I hope he gets the itch a little bit to go tee that thing up because there's no doubt you can compete with those guys. There's no doubt.
Thank you. Yeah, I have the itch. That's for sure. And what's been awesome is like I've been in the gym a lot more and put 15 pounds of muscle back on and hitting it farther again, and just like feeling that pop off the face for the first time in a good 5 years is, as a golfer, it's
It's
kind of like
exciting.
you get a little excited. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's nice.
Yeah.
you can see
Look
the
at his
smile
smile,
come out a
Mike.
little
Yep.
bit.
Look at the
Yeah,
smile
and
that he's
and
got.
and
He's
that's been
Yeah.
something that like I kept wondering, and not, no offense, I couldn't find it anywhere. I didn't know if you had said it or announced it. And I was like, damn, I must have missed that because that was the one question I kept wondering, and it's so cool to hear that you're gonna go do it. But I think by doing that, doesn't that I think that kind of like really challenges you on a mental level to keep the foundation that you've established now with your life and where you are and maintain that, right? Because without
Hmm.
golf, it's a lot easier when it comes to managing your time and what you eat and how you eat. Because now you're going to be flying to this place, going to that place, and we all know when life gets a little hectic, it's like, can we maintain our decision making to where it was and keep that there? So that's got to be a little bit of a challenge for you moving forward too. No?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely excited. I have a good plan. Like, I mean, on tour the last few years, I've always rented houses or split them with other players and caddies, and we cooked our own meals and bring them on the course. And so it's pretty, excuse me, it's pretty regular to me, which is nice. And now knowing a couple other guys out there that planning to do it with will be even easier. And having my wife and daughter going to travel with us a bunch, and yeah, it'll be really good. But the discipline part is something that I look forward to, and it actually helps me like feel more free in the times that when I have off time.
Yeah.
Will you start in the Bahamas?
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna play the first two Bahamas.
And then
go.
are you going to play when it comes to Matitaconk in New Jersey?
Hell yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
if
go.
I'm not back on tour by then, but that's a big dream. We'll see though.
All right. Well, hopefully you're back on tour by then. But
that's a good point too.
yeah.
But
Yeah, but
I mean,
that's the plan. I look forward. That course is awesome, and the practice facilities there are so sick.
Oh, it's incredible
so
there.
sick. So sick. You could get lost out there in their practice facility.
Yeah.
So, but like, and like, obviously when you're down in Costa Rica, is there, do you practice? Is there a spot to practice? I mean, obviously I don't know the area well enough to say like golf related compared to obviously Jupiter, which is like the golf area, but,
Yeah.
or are you going down there to relax and like just take care of yourself?
Yeah, probably mostly the latter. I mean, we're like an hour and a half from the nearest golf course. But I've had a few buddies and I looking at some land around here recently to build like a par 3 course or golf course or range, and that's pretty exciting. So eventually there'll be hopefully a golf course or something that we build closer. But no, I pretty much strictly this is for healing and meditation and nourishment and healing modalities and stuff that I do. And we're only 2.5 hours from Miami, which is an easy commute. So, but I just brought a bunch of our new furniture and big shipment of stuff down here. So in there was a golf net and a hitting mat, and brought my TrackMan down. So gonna grind as much as I can.
It's just
Yeah.
real. It's just real. I love that, dude. I absolutely love that it's there, and like we're gonna get back into it and we're gonna get after it. Like, God, your name will be starred on my app every time the Corn Ferry Tour happens, and I'll pray to God I see it on the PGA Tour too.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Out there.
But listen, I mean, Ryan, I probably could talk to Morgan about and blitz him with a gazillion questions longer.
So many.
But I don't, I do want to thank you for giving us an hour of your time. I mean, I know that I've been relentless with trying to get you on, and I'm glad that I finally, got through the barrier in a sense, but I don't think you have two bigger fans than us in terms of not only like your story, but you as a person. And obviously we will be rooting for you all the way through. So thank you so much for coming on. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, anytime. And I mean, hopefully see you guys meet in person in Jersey sometime. And yeah, if you need anything, just, you have my number.
That'd be incredible. Worst case scenario, we'll see you at Matitaconk.
Yes, awesome.
Morgan,
Great.
Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Take care, bud.
Thanks, Morgan.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.
Name a better feeling than buying something you can take and wear anywhere. Money spent on quality products is money well spent. Even more so when you can rock that purchase just about anywhere. Why would you spend a fortune on clothes you'll only wear on the golf course when you could buy gear that's just as nice at home, at a holiday party, or work event, yet comfy enough it doubles as loungewear? Obviously, we'd all love to be playing 36 holes every weekend of the year, but just because you have to sneak in a quick 9 before work doesn't mean you need a change of clothes. And as winter closes in, check out the new festive hoodies and beanies to fight off the chill at www.swannies.co and use code THEDROP25 for 25% off. Swannies is your go-to from work to golf and everything in between.